My dad wanted to be the hero who saved his stepdaughter's life. Instead, he became the villain who lost his son forever. I built a future without him, and now he's just another regret. Watching from a distance, he'll never cross. Hey, Reddit! My dad decided his stepdaughter deserved everything, and I deserved nothing. So I walked away, built a life without him, and never looked back. But he wasn't done ruining things. So here's how it all started. I'm Jackson Jax Reed, 13, an 8th grader and a sprinter on the middle school track team. I live with my stepmom, Maya Torres, my dad, Cole Reed, and, once she arrived, my stepsister, Lena Torres, 15. Before Lena, life ran clean. I was a B student, decent in the 200 and 400, and handy because Cole liked projects. Last fall, we rebuilt a busted bike, trued the wheels, and it rolled like new. He showed up at meets, timed my splits, shouted adjustments from the rail. Over winter, we cleared a corner of the garage and started building a heavy workbench. Cole taught me to let the drill do the work, to measure twice, to respect the material. We got the frame up, 2x4s squared and level, but the plywood top sat in the corner for weeks, waiting for us to finish. Next weekend, he kept saying. Next weekend never came. Eventually, I stopped asking. Lena moved in right after spring break. She was quiet, sketchbook always nearby, messy bun, paint on her fingers. Her bio dad was supposedly out of the picture. Mom had married Cole 3 years earlier, and this was the final step. One address, one table, one family. I was open to it. A sister sounded fine. The first week felt like a truce we all wanted to keep. Mom planned dinners. Cole told the same jokes. Lena smiled, and I gave up the remote without a fight. Week 2 showed the seams. After tacos, Mom asked Lena to do dishes. Lena said she had homework, then went upstairs. Cole watched her go and smiled. First week back after break, he said. Give her a pass. I rinsed plates and ran the dishwasher. The next day, I forgot the trash before school. When I got home, the can overflowed. Cole stood over it like a referee. We've talked about responsibility, he said. Follow-through matters. You want privileges, you earn them. The bag split on the way to the curb. Coffee grounds streaked my shoes. I didn't argue. By week 3, the chore chart vanished from the fridge. I kept mowing the lawn Saturdays, cleaning the garage Sundays, walking the dog every night. No one asked Lena for anything. When I pointed it out, Cole said, she's adjusting. Cut her some slack. I had adjusted too when Mom remarried, but I let that pass. I told myself balance would return. New house rhythm, new responsibilities, new person finding her place. Then came the shoes. My spikes were held together by athletic tape. The right sole lifted on turns. Regionals were 4 weeks away. I brought the shoes to Cole after dinner. These are done, I said. There's a pair online for $40. Save your allowance like everyone else, he said, still typing. I've got a meet, I said. I need traction. He closed the laptop. You're 13. Budget. I counted savings that night. $28. If I skipped lunch for a week, maybe I could make it. 2 days later in the kitchen, Cole pulled $200 from his wallet and handed it to Lena. Back to school clothes, he said. Get what you need. What about my shoes? I asked. That's different, he said. She doesn't have anything. Neither do I said, lifting the flapping sole. Then maybe take better care of your stuff. He turned back to Lena. Text me if you need more. Mom's eyes met mine. She saw it. She didn't say it. That evening, I mowed the lawn and thought about the workbench. A perfect frame we'd started together but never finished. At bedtime, I stared at the ceiling and listened to the house settle. The air click. A pipe tick. A step. Then voices downstairs. Low, but sharp. Maya. You can't say that to him and expect him not to notice. Cole. She's been through more than he has, Maya. Boys are resilient. I turned my phone over on the nightstand and stared at the contact labeled Dad for a long time. Something inside me cracked, but I wasn't ready to change it yet. Then I scrolled to Uncle Jay. You busy tomorrow? I typed. Always got time. What's up? He wrote back. Hard to explain by text. I set the phone down and looked at the blueprint still taped above my desk. The garage plan Cole and I had drawn in pencil. Clean lines. Each measurement carried through. Every cut accounted for. If you miss by a quarter inch, the mistake runs the length of the board. Sunday football at our house was supposed to feel normal. Cole had the game on, snacks out, and family drifting in and out of the living room. Uncle Jay Reed, his younger brother, dropped by, mid-30s, recently divorced, and allergic to sugarcoating. He watched quietly as Cole leaned out the back door and called, Jax, mow the lawn before dinner. I grabbed the mower and started pushing lines across the yard. Through the window, I could see Lena sprawled on the couch, scrolling on her phone. Jay glanced at her, then back at Cole. Lena, you helping out? Cole waved it off. Rough week at school. I told her to relax. Jay's eyebrow twitched, but he didn't press. He watched, though. Every time I passed the window, he followed me with his eyes. After the game, he caught me by the garage. Your old man's acting off, right? Or am I losing it? I shrugged. Maybe. You're not crazy, kid, he said. That's some real nonsense. The nonsense didn't stop. Every week, the gap widened. I handled the lawn, dishes, garage, dog, and trash. Lena handled nothing. Whenever I asked why, Cole repeated the same line. She's been through a lot. So have I said once. You and Mom divorced when I was 8. That's completely different. How? Don't talk back to me, Jax. I stopped asking. It wasn't worth the argument. 3 weeks before regionals, I set my focus on track. This was my shot. Months of training, all building to one meet. Cole promised to help me sharpen my times on weekends. We'll get you ready, bud. You're gonna crush it. Weekend 1. Lena had a rough day and wanted to go to the mall. Cole dropped the stopwatch and grabbed his keys. Sorry, Jax. Next weekend. Weekend 2. Lena wanted to see a movie. We'll train tomorrow, he said. Tomorrow never happened. Weekend 3. I came downstairs in running gear. Cole was in the den, controller in hand, playing video games with Lena. He looked up once. Oh, I forgot. I ran alone that afternoon, but my times were stuck. At regionals, I placed 4th, missing the podium by 0.3 of a second. I knew I could have done better. Coach Alvarez, mid-40s and always straightforward, found me by the bleachers. Everything okay, Jax? Your starts looked off. Just an off day, I lied. He studied me for a moment, then nodded. We'll talk Monday. After the meet, Uncle Jay pulled into the lot and waved me over. He drove us to Five Guys and ordered without asking. Halfway through the burger, he said, Your dad bailed on training you, didn't he? I stared at the ketchup bottle. He's trying too hard to make himself look like a savior to Lena, Jay said. Feels guilty about something with your mom, so now you're paying the price. But that doesn't mean you should get screwed. I didn't respond, but I didn't need to. He could read it on my face. You ever need to talk, he said, or a place to go, you call me. Anytime. The night after regionals, I got up for water. As I passed Cole's office, I heard his voice through the cracked door. He was on the phone. She's like the daughter I never had, he said, his tone soft and proud. It's different with boys. They don't need as much attention. Jax is fine. The words landed heavier than any lecture. I stood there a moment, then turned back to my room. I didn't slam the door. I didn't cry. I just sat on my bed, phone in hand, staring at the contact labeled Dad. Slowly, I erased the name and typed Cole. That was the night I stopped talking to him. After that night, something inside me shut off. It wasn't anger anymore, just absence. I stopped asking Cole for anything. Stopped telling him about school, track, or friends. My answers shrank to single words. Homework? Done? Practice? Fine. Even chores stopped. It wasn't rebellion. It was a line in the sand. Saturday morning, he glanced out the window, irritation written all over his face. Why isn't the lawn mowed? I didn't look up from my phone. I thought chores were optional now. Excuse me? Lena doesn't do any. Why is it different for me? Because I said so. Cool, not good enough. The silence after that stretched and thickened. We lived in the same house but on opposite sides of a wall that neither of us would cross. Maya noticed before long. One evening, she found me rinsing dishes and asked, What's going on with you and Cole? I told her everything. The chores, the broken promises, the conversation I overheard about how boys don't need as much attention. Her face hardened as I spoke. That night, I heard them fighting. I'm doing what's best for this family, Cole shouted. No, Maya snapped. You're doing what makes you feel like a hero. The argument dragged on for hours, but when the house went quiet, nothing had changed. A few days later, I texted Uncle Jay about it. How bad is it? He asked. Pretty bad, I wrote. He's been paying for Lena's stuff. She even got a car. Jay's reply came fast. A car? How much? About $8,000. He said he used family money. Jay went silent for a minute, then, meet me tomorrow. Bring any bank statements you can find. The next afternoon, Jay drove us to meet a friend of his, a banker who could legally show the records since Maya's name was on the accounts. When the printouts slid across the table, my chest tightened. My college fund, the one Grandma left when she passed, started at $31,000. Now it sat at $13,000, $18,000. Gone. We broke it down line by line. Lena's used car, $8,000. New laptop, $2,000 emergency dental work, $3,000. Insurance should have covered it. Private tutoring, $4,000. Miscellaneous spending, concerts, clothes, spa visits, $1,000 plus. Every withdrawal chipped away at the future Grandma had tried to give me. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just stared at the numbers. Your dad stole from you, Jay said quietly. That was Grandma's money, I said. She died when I was 8. It was supposed to pay for college. Jay put a hand on my shoulder. I know, kid. And I promise we'll figure this out. How did he pull this off without Mom noticing? I asked. Jay shook his head. He had online access. The statements went to an email address he controlled. Your mom never checked because she trusted him. She figured the fund was just sitting there growing. By the time she thought to look, it was already gone. That night, I walked into the kitchen and dropped the bank statements on the table. Cole was rinsing a mug. You stole from me, I said. He blinked. I didn't steal. That's our money. I'm your father. That was Grandma's money. For me. For college. Lena needed... I don't care what Lena needed. You took what wasn't yours. Watch your mouth. Or what? You'll take more of my stuff and hand it to her? Maya walked in mid-confrontation, took one look at the papers, and went pale. Tell me you didn't, she said. I was helping the family, Cole muttered. It wasn't for the family. It was for your guilt, she said, voice trembling. You had no right. The house exploded after that. Voices collided, accusations cut deep. I stood there listening for a while, then turned and went upstairs. I pulled a duffel from my closet and started packing. A few shirts, running shoes, my spikes, the ones he wouldn't replace. When the bag was zipped, I texted Jay. Can I stay with you? His reply came back instantly. Always. I'm on my way. I came downstairs with the bag slung over my shoulder. Cole was still in the kitchen, red-faced and shouting. Where do you think you're going? He demanded. Anywhere but here. Maya didn't stop me. She didn't even try. She stood by the doorway, arms folded, eyes wet but steady. You're being dramatic, Cole yelled as I reached for the handle. You'll be back in 2 days. I paused, turned just enough to look at him. Don't count on it. Jay's truck idled in the driveway, headlights cutting across the lawn I hadn't mowed. I climbed in, dropped the bag at my feet, and buckled my seatbelt. We drove in silence for a while, the house shrinking in the rearview mirror with every block we passed. It looked smaller now. Not the place where I built a workbench with my dad, but the place where he decided my future was less important than playing hero. I stared out the window as the streetlights flickered past, a steady rhythm that matched the thudding in my chest. My life had split in two, the one before tonight and the one after. I didn't know what came next, how long I'd stay with Jay, or whether I'd ever want to come back. All I knew was this. The person I trusted most had stolen from me, and the boy who used to call him Dad wasn't sure he ever would again. Uncle Jay didn't hesitate. The night I walked out, he made 2 phone calls. One to Maya to tell her I was safe, and another to Coach Rafael Alvarez. Coach had been my middle school track coach the year before, but now he was the head coach at the high school I'd be attending in the fall. He'd watched me grow as a runner since 6th grade, and when Jay explained the situation, he didn't hesitate. By the next morning, I had a new home. Jax can stay here as long as he needs, Coach said over the phone. No questions asked. From the second I stepped into Coach's house, everything felt different. It wasn't just calmer, it was balanced. No yelling from another room, no lectures disguised as conversations. Everyone had their place, their responsibilities, their say. Homework at 5, dinner at 6, chores after. Nothing dramatic, nothing unfair. Coach's son, Nico, was 13 like me. We were both track guys, though he was a long-distance runner. Within days, we were teammates and friends, training after school, gaming late at night, cracking jokes over who had worse form. The house felt safe in a way mine hadn't for a long time. I started sleeping through the night. My grades went up. My 200-meter time dropped by almost half a second. I didn't feel like I was walking on glass anymore. Coach never asked for details about why I'd left. One evening, as we locked up the track after practice, he clapped me on the shoulder. You don't have to explain anything, Jax, he said. You're safe here. That's all that matters. Back at my old house, denial ruled. Cole told anyone who'd listen that I was just being dramatic. He assured Maya I'd be home in a few days once I cooled off. Maya didn't believe him. She was furious. She moved into the guest room and opened a new bank account in her own name. She stopped covering for him in conversations, stopped smoothing things over when he said something stupid. Lena eventually found out about the college fund, and it broke something inside her. She texted me once, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I stared at the screen and left it on red. A day later, she tried again, but I blocked her. You stole from him? She asked Cole one night, tears streaking her cheeks. I was helping you, he shouted back. I didn't ask you to steal from your son, she said. It was the first real crack in their relationship. For the first time, Lena looked at him not as a savior, but as someone who had done something deeply wrong. Cole didn't know how to explain himself, because there wasn't an explanation that could fix it. 2 weeks into my exile, Lena's life took a turn she never expected. During lunch at school, a man she barely recognized approached her table. Lena? He asked gently. Can we talk? It was her father, Ray Morales. She hadn't seen him in 2 years. She'd spent those years believing he'd abandoned her without a word. They sat outside on a bench. Ray looked older than she remembered. Tired, nervous, hopeful. I've been trying to reach you for 2 years, he said, pulling out his phone. These are texts to your old number. Emails to an account I was told was yours. Letters your stepdad threw away. He told me to stay away. Said you didn't want to see me. Her voice shook. He lied? I've been paying child support the whole time. I never stopped trying. Cole had changed her number, created a fake email, thrown away letters. He'd erased Ray from her life. Why? Because if Ray was present, Cole couldn't be the hero. He wanted Lena to need him, to depend on him completely. If she healed, he'd lose the role he built for himself. He needed her broken so he could be the one to fix her. Lena walked into the house that night with a storm on her face. You told me my dad didn't want me, she shouted the second she saw Cole. I was protecting you, he said quickly. Don't lie to me. You were keeping me grateful. You used me. That's not... You stole from Jax to buy me things I didn't even ask for. You lied to me about my dad. You made me the reason your son left. Her voice broke, but her words didn't waver. I'm not your charity project. I'm not your second chance. I'm done. She turned and left the room, leaving Cole frozen and silent. That night, Lena called Ray. Can I stay with you part-time? I've been waiting for you to ask for 2 years, he said softly. Of course. Cole tried to block her as she packed. You can't just leave. Watch me, she said, brushing past him. Maya didn't stop her. She didn't even try. She was done defending a man who had broken everything he touched. Meanwhile, my new life was taking shape. Coach signed me up for a local regional qualifier, and I ran the best race of my life, a 21.7 in the 200-meter. I'd shaved off more than a second from my personal best. When I crossed the finish line, Nico barreled into me with a tackle, laughing. Coach clapped me on the back. See, he said, I told you you had this. That night, the school's athletic page posted a photo. Jax Reed crushes the regional qualifier. Coach Alvarez and Nico celebrate track victory. Cole saw it on Facebook within the hour. Underneath the photo, the comments piled up. Where's his dad? Coach is the real MVP. Hope his father's proud, wherever he is. He stared at the photo for a long time. The kid he once taught how to build a workbench was now building a future without him, surrounded by people who showed up, believed in him, and stayed. Maya didn't tell him where I was living. Uncle Jay stopped answering his calls. Lena barely spoke to him anymore, and when she did, it was short and cold. Even his own father, my grandpa, had called him a disappointment. Cole had always said that family was the most important thing. Now, piece by piece, he'd lost every part of it, and none of us were looking back. For me, exile wasn't punishment. It was freedom. I wasn't the problem anymore. I wasn't the kid who didn't understand or needed to be tougher. I was just Jax, a runner, a student, a son, a friend, finally living without the weight of someone else's guilt on my shoulders. And as Cole stared at that photo online, he finally understood the thing I had realized weeks earlier. He hadn't just lost control of the situation. He'd lost me, and nothing he said could change that now. Cole started showing up places he didn't belong. The first time was at a Saturday meet 2 weeks after the qualifier. He stood near the entrance gate in sunglasses and a jacket, hoping I wouldn't notice. Coach Alvarez noticed first. Jax doesn't want you here, he said firmly, blocking the gate. I'm his father, Cole muttered. Not today, Coach replied. Respect his space. Cole left, but not quietly. That night he texted me, I'm proud of you. Can we talk? But the message never reached me. Blocked. He tried emailing, blocked again. He even waited outside my school once, standing by the parking lot as I walked to practice. I walked right past him without a word. He turned to Maya in desperation. You have to make him come home. Maya didn't flinch. I'm not making him do anything. You broke his trust, Cole. You don't get to demand it back. Cole believed therapy was fixing things. He'd been going for weeks now, telling himself he was making progress, that things were on track. What he didn't know was that Maya had been preparing something bigger. For the last 2 months, she'd been quietly meeting with a divorce lawyer. She documented everything, screenshots of every bank transfer from my college fund, recordings of conversations where he admitted taking the money, even my written account of what happened. Uncle Jay and Coach Alvarez both provided statements. Maya was meticulous, careful, patient. She hadn't filed earlier because she wanted me stable first. She refused to throw me into a custody battle while I was still trying to breathe again. But once I was safe, once I had structure and support, she stopped waiting. The bomb dropped 2 months after my 14th birthday. I was in 8th grade, spring semester. We were at breakfast. Cereal, toast, silence. Maya walked in and set a thick envelope on the table in front of Cole. "What's this?" he asked. "Exactly what it looks like," she said. He tore it open. Divorce papers. "What the hell is this?" "We're done," Maya said evenly. "We're in therapy," he said, voice rising. "We're fixing this." "No," she replied calmly. "You're in therapy. I'm filing for divorce." Cole's face drained of color. He flipped through the papers, page after page, spelling out just how thoroughly his life was about to change. The terms were brutal. Full repayment of my college fund, $18,000 plus 5% annual interest, totaling $19,500. Primary custody went to Maya. I was old enough to choose where I lived, and I'd already made that choice. Cole would get supervised visitation until I turned 16. After that, it would be entirely my decision. The house? It stayed with Maya. She owned it before the marriage, and the prenup sealed that. Cole had 60 days to pack his things and leave. "You can't do this," he said, voice shaking. "Watch me," Maya replied. He started to argue, but Maya slid another folder across the table. "Evidence. This is every lie you told," she said. "Every dollar you stole. Every time you chose your ego over your son. My lawyer says we have enough for full custody if we go to court. Sign the agreement or we'll let a judge decide." Cole sat back in his chair, hands trembling, staring at the papers that spelled out the consequences of every choice he'd made. 2 days later, Cole showed up to his individual therapy session, determined to convince someone, anyone, that he wasn't the villain. "Maya's overreacting," he told the therapist. "She's blowing everything out of proportion." The therapist set her notebook aside. "Cole, I can't continue seeing you. You've been lying to me. You said you took $8,000. The records show $18,000. I'm ethically obligated to terminate our sessions, and I'm writing a letter to the court recommending supervised visitation." Cole walked out without a word. His last attempt at redemption, gone. Word spread quickly in the family. Walter Reed, my grandfather, called Cole within a week. "That was your mother's money," he said coldly, "for your son. How could you? Dad, please, I don't want to hear it. I'm ashamed of you." The line went dead. The rest of the family followed. Invitations to birthdays, holidays, and dinners stopped coming. Instead, they called Maya and invited me. Thanksgiving passed without a single word from Cole. Christmas came and went with an empty chair where he used to sit. Uncle Jay became my point of contact for everything. School forms, practice rides, late-night talks. The more Cole tried to reach out, the less I needed him. Weeks later, Maya approached me with a document. Not from the court, but from her lawyer. It was a single page typed neatly, addressed to Cole. "These are your terms," she said. "If you want a relationship with Jax, you agree to them. If not, there's nothing left to discuss." The list was simple, but absolute. Equal treatment. No exceptions, no excuses. Repayment of the college fund in full within 12 months. Mandatory family therapy. And Cole listens without defending himself. No yelling, no guilt trips. One strike rule. If he slips once, I'm gone permanently. Maya handed the document to Cole during a brief, tense meeting at the lawyer's office. He read it once, then again. His hands shook by the end. "These are his terms," Maya said. "Take it or leave it." Cole stared down at the paper, his jaw tight, his eyes hollow. "I'll take it," he whispered. It was the first time I'd seen him look truly small. Not angry, not self-righteous, not desperate, just small. The man who once believed he could control everything now had no power at all. His future with me, if there was going to be one, would exist entirely on my terms. And for the first time in a long time, that felt like justice. Coming home didn't feel like coming home. It felt like moving into a stranger's house. I walked through the front door carrying my duffel bag, and everything around me looked the same. Same hallway photos, same kitchen table, same living room couch. But the air felt different, heavy. Maya greeted me with a small smile and a careful hug. "Dinner's at 6, she said softly. "No expectations? Just show up." I nodded. That was all either of us said. The first dinner was the longest 30 minutes of my life. I sat across from Cole, but I might as well have been across the ocean. He tried to ask about school. Fine. Practice? Good. How I was feeling? Okay. That was it. One-word answers, eyes fixed on my plate. I finished eating, rinsed my dish, and went straight to my room. The next night was the same, and the next. Cole felt less like a father and more like a roommate who happened to share the same roof. Lena was there part-time now, splitting her time between Ray's apartment and ours. Things between us were polite. We said hello, we passed the salt. We exchanged small talk about school. But the closeness we could have had been scorched by everything that happened. Maya watched every interaction carefully, like a referee ready to blow the whistle. One misstep, one sign that Cole was slipping back into old patterns, and she'd end it. Everyone knew it. 2 weeks after I came back, we had our first family therapy session. All 4 of us sat in a circle. Me, Cole, Maya, and Lena. The therapist, Dr. Bennett, was a woman in her 50s with sharp eyes and zero tolerance for excuses. "Jax," she began, "how do you feel about being home?" I didn't hesitate. "I don't trust him." Cole shifted in his seat. Let him finish," Dr. Bennett said firmly. I took a breath and started laying it all out. Everything I'd been holding in for over a year. Every time Lena skipped a chore, it was fine. Every time I forgot, I was lazy. When I needed shoes for track, you told me to save up. 2 days later, you handed Lena $200 for clothes. When I asked for help training for regionals, you promised you'd time my sprints. Then you canceled. 3 weekends in a row. I lost by less than half a second. I could have placed if you'd shown up. Cole stared at the floor. I didn't stop. The treehouse project? The workbench? You started both and never finished either. But when Lena wanted a new room set up, you spent the whole weekend painting and building furniture. I swallowed hard before the next part. That college fund was Grandma's money. She died when I was 8. It was supposed to be mine. You took it and gave it away. Cole looked up, eyes wet. I didn't. You did, I cut him off. And then I overheard you on the phone saying Lena was the daughter you never had. So what does that make me? The room was silent except for my heartbeat. Then I pulled out my phone. I kept a list, I said. Every time I asked for something and got a no, while Lena got a yes. Every chore I did while she didn't. Every broken promise. I started reading, one by one, 47 items in total. By number 20, Cole was crying. By number 40, Lena was too. My voice never shook. When I finished, Cole wiped his face. I didn't realize. Yes, you did, I said flatly. You just didn't care. Dr. Bennett turned to him. Do you understand what you've done? Cole's shoulders slumped. I destroyed my relationship with my son. Yes, she said. And you used Lena to do it. Then Dr. Bennett turned to Lena. How do you feel about all of this? Her hands were trembling. I didn't want any of it, she said quietly. I knew something was wrong. I could see Jax pulling away, but I didn't know how to say anything without sounding ungrateful. Her voice grew stronger. And then I found out you lied about my dad. You blocked him for 2 years. You used my abandonment issues to make me depend on you. She looked straight at Cole, tears in her eyes. You didn't save me. You weaponized me. Dr. Bennett didn't soften the blow. Cole, you didn't parent these children. You manipulated them. Jax, to prove you didn't need anyone. Lena, to prove you were a hero. That's not love, that's control. That night after therapy, I went to the garage and started building the trophy shelf I'd once asked for. This time, I wasn't waiting for anyone. Halfway through, Cole stepped in. Can I help? The word no was on the tip of my tongue. But after a long pause, I said, fine. We worked side by side for nearly an hour. No talking, no apologies, just measuring, cutting, drilling. The silence was heavy but not hostile. When the last screw was in place, Cole stepped back. It looks good. Yeah. Can I come to your next meet? If you want. It wasn't forgiveness. But it wasn't a no either. 3 years passed before I realized how far I'd drifted from the boy who once waited by the window for his dad to come home. I was 17 now, a senior with straight A's, a track record that was turning heads, and a life that didn't orbit around Cole anymore. We spoke occasionally, short, surface-level exchanges. We weren't enemies, but we weren't father and son either. We were more like distant relatives who shared blood, but not much else. My real life existed outside that house, on the track with Coach Alvarez, in late-night gaming sessions with Nico, at Sunday cookouts with Uncle Jay, and in quiet evenings, laughing with Maya. Cole wasn't part of that picture anymore. Meanwhile, Cole's world was unraveling. Word had spread about the divorce, the stolen money, the son who wouldn't speak to him. He sold his car, moved into a cramped apartment, and struggled to keep up with the settlement payments. While he scrambled to rebuild, I was thriving. Scholarship scouts were showing up at my meets, my GPA was the best it had ever been, and for the first time I was completely free of the weight of his expectations. 6 months after the divorce, Walter updated his will. Uncle Jay got 40%, I got 40%, held in trust until I turned 25. Cole got 20%, just enough to avoid a legal fight, but far too little to feel like anything other than punishment. When Cole protested, Walter said one thing: "Your mother would be ashamed." The line went dead. The ultimate twist came in spring. I got a call from a Division I recruiter. They were offering me a full ride, athletic and academic, to a university with one important detail. It was Cole's alma mater. He had been a mediocre athlete there, never lettering, barely graduating. I was being offered the future he always wanted for himself, except I'd earned it without him. The signing ceremony was packed. Local news crews, classmates, coaches, and family crowded the gym. Coach Alvarez stood next to me, grinning. Nico filmed the whole thing. Uncle Jay, Maya, Lena, and even Ray were there. Cole stood in the back, uninvited but not stopped. I stepped up to the microphone. "I want to thank Coach Alvarez," I began. "He taught me what discipline and integrity look like. Uncle Jay, for always having my back. Mom, for never stopping the fight. Nico, my brother from another mother. And Lena, for showing me what real family means." I paused. Everyone waited, expecting the next name. It never came. "And to everyone else who supported me this year," I finished. "Thank you." After the ceremony, a local reporter pulled me aside. "This is a huge accomplishment," she said. "Who do you want to thank for helping you get here?" I repeated the list. Coach, Uncle Jay, Mom, Nico. "I noticed your dad's here," she pressed. "Want to give him a shout out?" I looked directly into the camera. He taught me what not to do. That's valuable too, I guess. There was no anger in my voice, just fact. Later, someone told me Cole had been standing in the back during the interview. They said he looked hollow, like he'd just been punched in the chest. I didn't ask for details. After the event, Lena pulled me aside near the bleachers. "I testified at the divorce hearing," she said quietly. "Did Mom tell you?" "No. I told the judge everything. How Cole manipulated me, blocked my dad, stole from you." I didn't hold back. "Why?" I asked. "Because you were right to leave," she said. "And I should have said something sooner." We hugged, for the first time like real siblings. "For what it's worth," she whispered, "you're a better person than I'll ever be." "Nah," I said. We both just survived the same mess. Out in the parking lot, I loaded gear into my car, bought with prize money and a part-time job. Cole approached slowly. "Jax," he said. "Can we talk?" "About what?" I wanted to say I'm proud of you." "Cool," I said, tossing another bag into the trunk. "I know I messed up," he said. "I know I can't fix it, but I'm trying." I finally looked at him. "You taught me something important, Cole," I said, deliberately skipping Dad. "You taught me that trying doesn't erase what happened. Actions have consequences. You used to tell me that when I messed up. Guess it applies to you too." "I'm sorry," he said. "I know, but sorry doesn't give me back the years you spent choosing someone else. Sorry doesn't replace the money you stole. Sorry doesn't make me trust you. So what do? "Nothing," I said. "You don't do anything. You just live with it. People think revenge is about making someone hurt the way they hurt you. It's not. Real revenge is building a life so good that their apology doesn't matter anymore." I did that. I got a full ride to a Division I school. My college fund was restored, and then some, thanks to Walter. I built a real family with Coach, Nico, Uncle Jay, and Mom. Even Lena realized we'd both been pawns in Cole's redemption story. Cole? He's still around, still trying, still hoping I'll forgive him. I don't think I will. Not because I'm angry. I just moved on. He's part of my life the way a scar is part of your skin. You remember how you got it, but you don't think about it every day. And every time he sees me succeed, every medal, every scholarship, every time someone calls Coach Dad by mistake, he has to remember he did this to himself. That's karma. That's checkmate. That's peace. And honestly, I've never slept better. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.